Hi everyone. I want to say hi to all the mothers who are watching with us. My name is Simon Bevy from Transform Nations. And under Transform Nations, we do some programs for mothers. So we have the Intentional Mom Forum, where we bring the mothers together and talk through different topics about mothering and just parenting our children to become what they need to become. But under Transform Nations, we also do some other programs. We have one for fathers called Intentional Dad. So we get to train the fathers as well. For yesterday, we were talking to the fathers about fathering during this time of crisis. If your husband or the father of your child needs to listen to that, then I want to encourage you to tell them to check on our YouTube. Transform Nations YouTube, we have posted it there, and they can get to hear more as well. But today we're talking with the mothers, and we are talking about mothering through this time of crisis. Also, we have other programs that we will be doing online, and we've been doing the Man Enough program. We will be doing shortly online. We have the equivalent of Man Enough for women. That is EZA. We will also be doing online. And we have a coaching program for boys, the Boys to Men program. So even as you listen, in case you need some help with a mentor, trained mentor, to work with your boy for whatever it is that he may be going through. And we have some mentors who are willing to do that. So as I continue to talk, just let us know. Type out where you're listening from or watching us from, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment. We're going to be looking at that. But welcome from wherever it is that you're watching this. I want just to delve into it. So, mothering through the crisis. Of course, the COVID-19 situation has become a challenge around the world. So a lot of lockdown, a lot of us with our families, with our children, we're spending a lot more time at home than we've done before. And so the mothers have a lot more demand on them than it was before. And so I want to talk about 3 points in mothering through this crisis. 3 points. And number one, I want to talk about understanding the stress that home is in right now. Yes, there are things which bring stress, the stressors before even this, but right now we need to understand what's going on and how that is bringing stress to you as a mother, to the children, to everyone else, and how to handle that. So usually there's 6 stress points for mothers, for women generally, but these are 6 main things that would bring stress to anyone, a lady. Number one is the children. Those of you with children, you know that children could be a stress. We're not saying they're bad, but they could bring a lot of stress in their demands. And, you know, just the walking with them, having to tell them to switch off the TV and go to sleep, things like that. So children are one stress point for mothers. Number 2 is a spouse. If you're living with a spouse, of course, I know I'm a spouse to the mother of my children, Sophia, and sometimes I could be a stress point because I have my needs. And every human being around you has demands and needs and attention that they need. And spouses could be stresses as well. Number 3 is career. What we do out there, whether we're doing it right now or not. If as the father we're not doing it, would be a huge stress point. If we are still doing it during this time of stress, then it will still add some stress to who we are. So career is a big one. And then number 3 or number 4 would be housework. There's a lot of demand every day. We have a lot of things, chores we need to do, cooking, cleaning, washing, all of those things could be a stress. It could be quite a lot. And lastly is wanting it all. You know, there are times as mothers we want to have a sparkling clean house, and we want to have Dettol children who are clean and they're well organized. Then we want to watch series as well and enjoy the series. Then we want to read. Then we want to talk to 100 people and watch 100 clips on social media. You know, there are times we just want it all, and that would be a stress a stressor because we realize pretty soon we cannot really have it all. So we're just beginning. We're talking about understanding stress right now and what's going on in our homes. Well, one of the things to understand is mom is under stress, some level of stress. Each one of you as a mother, I know you are at under some level of stress. You may not even feel it, but it's right there. Why? Because of limited activities and interactions. Right now with the lockdown, the things you would be doing out there with your girlfriends and other people that you're not doing. And that in itself could bring some stress and interactions that you'll be having. We have reduced cash and the threat of economic, downtown or stress. We're dealing with that we don't know how long this is going to take. Some of you no longer have your income, or you have reduced income. So we have challenges with that. And of course, that would bring some stress, the financial situation that we are in. Then we have lots of time at home. We have a lot more time at home for many of us than we have had before. So a lot more children, a lot more cooking, a lot more cleaning, a lot more things that we are doing. That could bring some stress to you as a mother. Lots more cooking and cleaning up, education at home. We have to help the children with education online and mind them a lot longer and more than we would have done. We have fears of uncertainty and things to come. There's a lot in this situation that have increased the levels of stress for you as a mother. Number two, we have the children under stress. So we're understanding stress at home. You as a mom, you're definitely under some level of stress, but then the children are also stressed. So too much of parents. Children are used to having you and the parents for a short while, and they go and play with their buddies, and they go to school, and all of that. And that helps because then you don't have too much of children, and the children don't have too much of parents. And so some of the children have just too much of us in our homes. And they need a break, and that is a stressor. Then education at home. They're not used to you being the parent and the teacher as well, and the supervisor. And so for some of them, they have had enough of you. It's just too much. You're the one telling them to do their homework. You're the one coaching them online. And then you're the one giving them food. And you're the one asking them other questions around life. I mean, it's almost just too much. Life never used to be like that. Of course, children have limited activities and interactions with their friends. That would be a stress. The other day, my little girl was asking, Dad, when are we going to go and visit somebody? She just wants to get out of the house and go somewhere. And of course, I told her for a long time, we're not going to be able to do that. And so those are stress points for the children. Uncertainty of the future. The children are wondering, for how long are we going to be here? And you can't even give them a good answer. We don't know for how long. And that uncertainty, the washing of hands and staying at home and seeing people are dying all over the world, that could be and is stress issues for the children. So what is stress anyway? Stress is your reaction to a change in the environment. It's how we react when things change and we can't go to work and children can't go to school and we have to do a lot more at home and we have to get home on time before the curfew. For those of you in places where there are curfews, the way we react to that could be negative or positive. There's always positive stress, like when you do exercise and you stretch your muscles and you feel the pain and then you rest and then you do again. And that eventually is positive because it's building your body. But then there is distress, which is negative stress that keeps building up. And that's what we're talking about. As women, you deal with stress in different ways. They talk about these three kinds of hormones that are produced, and the third one reduces the impact of the first two. When stresses come to us, then we have three hormones that we produce. I don't want to go stress you with all of those details, but thankfully the women produce more, one of those hormones that actually reduce the impact of stress, unlike men, and that gets to help you a lot more. So we have all of this flight and fight. When things change, we want to fight them, but we also want to take take off from them. And that understanding of how to deal with all of that is what may produce stress. What are some of the signs of stress that we find ourselves with? When you begin to see that you are irritable, that a small thing, like the child causing something to fall down at the table when you're eating, and you find yourself getting very irritable and almost shouting, then something is wrong. There are stress levels in your life. When you begin to tell children, I brought you into this world and I could take you away from it, then you're stressed. At that point, you're overreacting over some things. Irritability, then sleeplessness. Sometimes we go to bed and we can't sleep. We just don't have sleep when we need it. That could be a sign of stress. Then eating. Challenges in eating. Either we're eating too much and we want too much of ice cream, too much of chocolate. We just want to go and shop all the time, or you're under eating, whatever it is. When patterns in your eating and in your sleeping and in your normal, disciplines that you have begin to change for the negative, then that could be a sign of stress. When there's less activity and you just feel passive and you don't want to wake up or you don't want to do stuff, you just want to sit on one spot and vegetate, and you just want to watch TV all the time, when you begin to realize that it's even hard to reach out for the remote, which is just next to you, then something could be wrong in terms of stress. Lastly would be isolation or aggression. Either you just want to isolate yourself, you don't want to hang out with the children, you don't want to hang out with other people, isolation or withdrawal, or you're just very aggressive. You're just going for your kids, going for food, going for other things. Then that could be a sign of stress as well. So generally, when women find themselves under stress, then they will begin to reach out for friends or do something else to reach out. That's the beauty of the hormones that work in us, work in the ladies, that you always reach out for others. That it's more connection oriented, the way you deal with stress. So when you find yourself as a woman, you don't want to talk to your girlfriends, you don't want to talk to other people, then things are really thick. If that's the case with men, we could understand, because men go into a cave when they are stressed. So it's their first reaction. But for women, their first reaction, according to your hormones, is to reach out to someone else. And so if that's not happening, then, just realize that the stress levels could be huge. So number one, understand the stress that is happening at home. You as a mom, you're stressed. Your children are stressed because of the realities. Understand that. So that as you deal with it, you know where you're coming from. Number two, the second point, and then we'll have a third one and we'll finish, is how to manage your stress as a mom. How do you manage your stress? What do you get to do to manage your stress levels? I love a quote from William James that says the greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. The greatest weapon against stress is the ability to choose one thought over another. And what you are saying is, during the times of stress, you have many thoughts, and you could choose which way to go, whether you want to be negative or you want to be positive. There's a lot of positives to look at during this time. So several things I want to say. You can write this down pretty quick about managing your stress as a mother. Number one is maintain a positive attitude. Focus on the bright side of life. Yes, you could be working, but you have a lot more time now with your children. You have a lot more time with your family. You have a lot more time at home. You have some time to rest. That's positive. So focus on the bright side of life and begin to enjoy that and celebrate that. And don't just focus on the negative clips that are being sent on social media. No, positive. Focus on the positives. Begin to look at the lining. The bright lining in this cloud, in this dark cloud. Begin to celebrate that, and you find yourself with a positive attitude. Number two, accept what you cannot control. I love the Serenity Prayer, and what it says: God, Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I just love that. It says we need to understand there are things we can't change. This lockdown, we cannot change it. There are just realities right now going on in the world that we cannot change. So we accept that. If you keep fighting against that, then you get more stressed. And then you need the courage to change what you can change. And one of those is your attitude. You can change your attitude. And you can change how you come at all the stresses in your home during this time. So, and then lastly, allow God to give you the wisdom to know the difference. Don't fret over things you can't change. You're just stressing yourself for nothing. Number 3, look at your body reacts to stress. So managing stress for mom. Your body reacts to change. And one of the ways to keep your body healthy and stress-free is exercise. Exercise regularly, even right at home. Eat healthy, have enough rest. Make sure you sleep enough. Avoid substance abuse. Don't turn to alcohol or other things like those to try and manage your stress. So keep your body, stress-free. Reduce the stress levels over your body. Number 4, your emotions. Understand and share and manage your emotions, your feelings. If you're scared, talk to your girlfriend or to someone else or to your spouse and talk through it so that you deal with it. If you're angry, then don't let it out on everyone. When you get angry and you begin to become dangerous for your children and dangerous even for yourself, that's not healthy. And so deal with that as well. Deal with the emotions. Name them, deal with them, manage them, talk to others if you need to do that so that you don't explode. The other one is socialize. Reach out and connect with your friends, with people at work, wherever it is that you get to socialize. When you feel stressed, just let it out on someone else who could be your friend. Limit exposure as well, the next point. Limit your exposure to stressful circumstances. If you have a friend who just is negative and all the time they call and they're just stressing you, then limit, just block them. Limit your exposure to stressful circumstances. Then, of course, your spirit. Watch over your spirit during this time of stress. Get to pray. Get to read God's word. Get to meditate. Get to watch church online. Get to listen to healthy music that is going to help you in just strengthening your spirit and making sure your spirit is not under stress. And of course, your mind, get to reading, healthy reading and writing and, drawing some things. Just engage your mind in something creative so you're not just there and your mind is idle. As I say, it's going to be the devil's workshop. And lastly, make sure you have some leisure. Make sure you have some enjoyable, activities like gardening or walks around the neighborhood. Of course, make sure you have the distance, social distancing, watching some movies, not the ones that stress you. Like my wife just gets stressed by action movies. She begins to pray for the characters. Oh, God, help them not to die, or help them this and that. And she gets more stressed for watching that than relax. So just understand what relaxes you and have some leisure. I love Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. I just want to say that as I go to the last point. It says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. I like that part, with thanksgiving. Let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And so as you go through this, as you manage stress as a mother, just realize that your spirituality plays a huge part in managing your stress levels. Those of you who have just joined us, please leave a comment. Tell us where you're watching from. This is a conversation to mothers about mothering through this stress or through this crisis. I've already talked about 2 points. First point is understand the stress levels at home. Mom is stressed, children are stressed, spouse could be stressed, so there's a lot you're dealing with. Number 2, we're saying manage your stress as a mother. Bring it down, because when mom is stressed, no one is happy in the house. So manage that. And I want to come to the last point for us. Help your children manage stress during this crisis. So mothering. So we get down now, how do you play your role as a mother to your children during this time so that you reduce the stress level? Number one is connection. Connection. As a mother, you're just a connector with your children. You connected with your baby right from the womb, and then they got born, and you just connect very well. I think mothers, hands down, beat dads in terms of the ability to naturally connect with your children. So this is a time to really connect. Some of you have been missing in action. Your kids have not seen you as much as they're seeing you right now. This is a time to compensate for what you are not doing with your children. So connect with them physically, play with them, do some card games, some board games, and other things, play cards, dance around together, do some crazy things, and connect physically with your children. Connect with them socially. Share with them what you're feeling and let them tell you what they're feeling. Connect with them emotionally as well. Discuss about their fears and sadness and whatever else it is. So connect with your children appropriately and deeply during this time. Secondly, be available and approachable. There's some mothers who may be home, but the children don't want to come to you. Just because you're scared, the way you look at them, that mom's eye. Some of us as mothers, they would look at you and you just don't want to come near. So be approachable, be available. Don't be on your social media all the time so that you are there, but you're not really there. Be available and approachable. Then be involved in their timetable and their education. Be there to supervise with them. Help them in what they're doing. So work with them. Be involved in their lives. Be home and engaged with the children so that you help them deal with whatever it is that is stressing them. Of course, share your love with them. Hug them regularly. Let them sense some safety and some sense of belonging during this time. Show them lots of love and be close with them. Languages of love, the 5 languages of love, you can read that if you don't know them, and show them love according to their love languages. And of course, show them acceptance. This is a time to accept your children. There's some things you may not accept the way they do them and you need to correct them, but accept the child. Let them know with their weaknesses, with their teenage manenos and challenges that they're facing and habits of making noise and wanting to sleep longer. Let them know you accept them, but you will help them manage their behavior. So connection is number one. As mothers, one of your roles is to connect with your children. Do it well this time. That connection helps them deal with the stress. Number 2, nurture them. You're a nurturer. You're a life giver. I love Genesis chapter 3 verse 20, that her name is going to be Eve because she's a life giver. In your words, give life. In your conversations, give life. In terms of cooking and helping your children, give life. You're a nurturer. But also because in that nurturing you provide, talk to them about the prevailing financial situation. Let them know that, budget is going to change a bit. They may not eat pizza and ice cream as much as they used to eat because of the prevailing financial situation. So talk to them about that. And of course, plan well your finances so they may stretch during this time that we are financially not stable and we don't know how long this is going to take. Cut your costs, but involve your children. Let them understand why they can't eat some things, why they can't do some things they used to do because of cutting costs, because of a prevailing situation. And of course, protect your children physically. Make sure your home is safe. Make sure you've taught them about fire and what to do. Make sure your home is safe in every way, but also technologically, make sure they are safe. Now they're interacting more with the internet. Make sure you've taught them, some of the dangers of the internet, and you're supervising them so that they're not watching movies they shouldn't be watching and listening to things they shouldn't be listening. Protect them. Also, make sure they don't spend too long time on their gadgets because of, overstimulation. That leads to addiction to this. So make sure you control all of it. So nurture them. Be a nurturer. Be a mother in the best way that you can during this time. Number 3, your role as a mother to help your children during this crisis time. Containment. There's this big word that psychologists get to talk about, containment. And it's a simple word. It's about helping your children manage their emotions. Emotions could be overwhelming for children. When they hate you, they say, Mom, I hate you. I never want to talk to you. That's children. Everything is mega for them. And when they feel disapproval for you, it's huge. When they like you, they love you so much. They say, Mom, I love you so much. They want to hug you and kiss you all the time. You see, children don't know how to manage their emotions. So it's a role of mothers to do this thing, to pick up the emotions from children, especially when they are way younger, and, manage that emotion, help them name it, and then help them understand how to manage it and return it to them in a way that they can manage it. So help them manage their emotions. Name them, number one. Help them understand right now you're just angry. Right now you're just frustrated. Right now you're sad because your friends are not here. Right now you're this. And that's okay. Everyone goes through that. But this is the acceptable behavior when you feel that feeling. That's helping them deal with their emotions. If they're afraid about this COVID-19 and whether they're going to die, help them understand you're afraid of death, and it's okay, everyone is, once in a while or regularly. But this is what you do with it, and this is how you deal with that emotion. So help them manage their emotions. Don't be the one who protects them too much, smothering them from what they should be dealing with. Don't do that, or don't overwhelm them with your own fear. Have you ever heard that thing that is said that, a jacket is what a child wears because the mother is cold? When you feel cold, then you transfer it to your children and force them to wear a jacket, So don't overwhelm your children with your own emotions. Handle your own emotions so that they're not scared because mom is scared. Handle your own emotions. All right. Of course, teach them the values that guide in handling these times of crisis, that even though they're scared or they're angry, they cannot use bad language, or they cannot be mean to their siblings. Teach them the values as part of containment. And of course, be there to soothe them, to comfort them, to take them to bed. And if they're young, sing for them a song or read them a story, whatever it is. But help them validate their emotions, but also soothe their emotions as you train them how to manage them. And the last thing that a mother does, so they get to connect well with the children and family during this time, is the time to do it because you have more time. Nurture them, be the mother, a provider, the natural that you are. Give life in your words and in the way you relate with them. Containment, contain them, in the different, in their emotions. Help them manage their emotions well. Name them and manage them well, and be there for them to cushion them in those emotions. And lastly, remember, as a mother, your role is to release your children. Right from the time children are born, a mom begins a process of release. You release them out of your womb, they get born. You release them when you wean them from breastfeeding. You're releasing them. And around 5 years, 6 years, they're born emotionally. They begin to have their own two emotions. And now they begin to say, I don't like that, mom, and I don't want to do that, and I feel this. That time they come to an emotional birth. And they begin to know that their emotions are different from mom's. And then later, around 9, 10, they begin to pull away from mom to be their own person, to find their identity. And you begin to help them deal with that. And then, so you're releasing them. During teenage, you begin to release them. They begin to say, Mom, I don't want to go with you. They used to come with you every time, and now they don't want to come with you. So release them. Release them in the stages of life. Don't hold on to them too much, because you're enabling them. And there'll be mama's boy or mama's girl who cannot do stuff for themselves. So during this time of crisis, don't do everything for your children. Make sure you release them at the appropriate ages that they are in. Release them. A few things about that. progressively, allow and train them for their own independence. Don't make their bed. If they're 12 years, 8 years, they can make their bed. They can wash their underwear. They can do lots of stuff. Help them grow in their independence. Number two, identity. Allow them and encourage them to grow in their own identity, especially from preteen into teenage. That's the time they should be, or it should be okay for them to have their own thoughts, their own preferences of what they wear, as long as it's decent. They can choose. Help them choose and know how to make choices. And of course, create and train them in boundaries. Help them maintain their own boundaries, but also train them on boundaries so they know people can come this far, someone can talk to me, but not after 8. This and that can happen and cannot happen. So teach them and help them maintain boundaries. Of course, correct them and discipline them in poor choices so that you're training them for life. You're giving them life skills so that when they grow up, they can live without you. Train them in maturity, self-control, and life skills. Well, a lot that we have said, release them. So slowly and consistently release them so that they may grow to be the human beings that they need to grow in. So those of you who joined in, we've already talked much of this conversation, helping mothers raise their children during this time of crisis. And we've talked about 3 points, and I'll go over them again. Number one, we have said, understand the stress reality that we are living in right now. This crisis is bringing a lot of stress to your spouse, to your children, to home. Number two, understand that mom is stressed as well. And so begin to understand the reality at home. And then the second thing we talked about, helping mom, helping yourself deal with your own stress. And we talked about many things that you can begin to do to deal with your own stress. Lastly, we have said as a mother, you need to help your children, mother your children in the roles that you play. Number one is connection, connecting a lot more with your children. They need that during this time, physically, socially, emotionally. Number two, we talked about nurture, be a nurturer. Be a one who gives them life during this time, provides for them, and talks to them about the limitations of provision. And then number three, containment. Help them name and manage their own emotions. Be there for them through whatever it is they're going through. And lastly, release them progressively, but consistently and firmly as you release them to be what they're supposed to be. Well, I want to bring it to a close. But I want to remind you that we have a course called Mothers, for Mothers, called Mothers of Sons or Intentional Moms. In fact, now we're enlarging it. Next week we are starting one for 5 weeks online, which is going to be for mothers of sons and mothers of daughters as well. And so as soon as you can, sign up on our page and let us know you're interested, and we're going to get back to you. We have other programs for fathers as well, for men and for women. In fact, tomorrow we're going to have a talk for all the ladies, and we're going to get deep into how ladies get to manage stress and some of the things you need to do as a woman. But right now I want to close, and I want to say this is a good time to look at the positive. And those of you who, because of your work, your essential services, maybe you're separated from your family, that's not easy. And our hearts go to you. But for most of you, you're home with your family a lot more. They could be stressful. Some of you maybe have abusive spouses. This is the time also to protect yourself and make sure you're not, this is not getting worse because you're locked up at home. While you need intervention of other authorities, please do that. But protect yourself. The other thing I want to say as I close is a good marriage is a good foundation for parenting. So this would be a good time to build your marriage relationship where it's possible. Of course, it takes two to tango. And so your husband needs to be in it. And so it's a good time to be a better spouse and to deal with some of the challenges you faced as a couple and just build your marriage because your children are watching you as well in the way you relate to their dad, for those of you who are married. Lastly, don't beat yourself too much. I always say moms beat themselves a lot more than dads do. Dads would spend 10 minutes with their children and they'll go and brag to other dads and say, wow, I had 10 minutes with the children. Great job to me. And they will high five each other. Ladies will spend 2 hours with their children and then they'll call their girlfriend and say, I'm such a lousy man. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I just can't get it. You beat yourself too much as ladies. Don't do that during this time. You're bound to get it wrong in supervising your children in their education because you have not been a teacher and you're not one trained. So you're likely to get some things wrong. With a lot of time with kids at home, you're likely to have a lot more conflicts. Yes, deal with those conflicts, but don't beat yourself a lot. Just realize, we are all growing, parenting. And parenting is a relationship. It has twists and turns. But give yourself grace, grow yourself. And those of you who need a training, we welcome you next week to join us in the trainings or other trainings that are available for parenting. But we are grateful that you've joined us. And make sure you share this clip with many people. I just want to appreciate Justice Lillian earlier today engaged me. You're listening and you know yourself. And we had a conversation about a lot of the things that I was to share. And you had good input. Thank you. You gave me good input. So thank you to all of you. And mothers, just realize God believes in you. So continue to be the mother that you can. There's nothing like a perfect mother. So don't try to be one. The perfect mothers are either dead or yet to be born. But as long as you're alive, you're going to have mistakes. So don't beat yourself too much. And God bless you as you continue to father. Well, please again, share this clip, video clip with many others. It's going to be on our YouTube not too long from now. And remember what we have shared. Share it with some of your mother friends so that you get a lot more from it. Thank you very much. And may the Lord bless you and continue to follow us in the many talks that we're going to be having during this season. God bless you.